All right, folks. All right, folks. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. As one Crookshank here, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, former Division One college football player, and current five-time, soon-to-be six-time published author, back for another Stay Hired Sunday. We got to get right into it today because my good friend Kimberly Blue, again, appreciate the sacrifice you make every single week, but she has somewhere to be in about 20 minutes, but she did say she'll be on, so we're going to keep it at around 20 minutes in regards to what we're going to be discussing today. But every single Sunday, we are here doing what we can to help you become more of a valuable employee or as a business owner, create a company that has more valuable and loyal people. So, all that being said, Kimberly, how are you?
I am great, thank you. Yeah, today my granddaughter, Olivia, is having her graduation party. She graduated from high school, believe it or not. So happy to be here. What's our topic today?
Well, we decided to kind of open it up to cousin Chat GPT today, and seeing that it is, you just mentioned that it's you see your granddaughter, correct?
Yes, Olivia.
Seeing that it is your granddaughter's high school graduation, that means she's officially in the working world. And one of the things that she's going to have that neither you or I had is AI and Chat GPT to ask the questions that we're going to ask today. So, what I decided to do, like late last night, is to turn this show, or turn just it's particularly this episode, turn this episode into something where we're going to just ask ChatGPT some questions that a younger person that's entering into the workforce would ask, so they know what studies to pursue, what they should take seriously, and all that kind of stuff. So I, as always, reached out to my good friend Kimberly Blue, and got her thoughts, and she was able to send me a whole list of questions. So we're gonna just run through those, and then probably see where we are at about the 20-minute mark, and then go from there. So. Did you want to add anything before we just load them up?
We're gonna load them up. And I think some of the questions, I kind of mixed it up like between college students, business owners, executives. So we'll see what it says.
All right, good. All right, so number one, it says, "How do I make myself layoff proof in a volatile market?" Let's do it. Great question. How this is layoff proof? Okay, they're giving a lot. We're doing this live, folks. We're doing this live, but we will address everything. I won't
Doing
read
the
the whole thing.
most.
Yeah. All right. So they just put five, and I think they put five because one thing before I even answer the question is one thing ChatGPT does do is it gets to know you week by week, or the more you use it, the more it gets to know you, right? So every week I put in create five questions for every Sunday. I put in create five questions for this show specifically. So as you
Right.
can see, the more you use it, the more it gets to know you. So it probably just assumed I was looking for
I want
five
five
bullet points.
questions.
Exactly, and that's just the way it works. That's why they got to use it the best way. So the first point, we'll just address the first point. What skills or certifications are in highest demand in my industry right now, and how quickly can I learn them? Tip: upskilling, AI, data analysis, leadership often pays off regardless of your role. So I would actually go back to what we talked about last week in regards to work that can be done that's not being used by AI, because that's the trend now. But eventually, the owners and people are going to get a handle on it. They're going to eventually make it so they're working with people that they trust personally. The same way you maybe have like you had mentioned last week, you may have a leak in your house. You may have some drywall that needs to be done. You may, and I had talked about Joe a little bit. By the way, somebody commented on the clips, and they said you kind of remind them of Miley Cyrus, which was cool. I forgot to forgot
Oh,
to mention that to you. I forgot to mention that to you. I was like,
well,
okay,
thank
Miley
you.
Cyrus it is.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah. So the way I would answer this is always just like I was like, I listened to Nickelback. Nickelback is one of my favorite
Love
musicians, and
Nickelback.
yeah, there's a song where it's "Today is your last day. If today was your last day," and he talks about against the grain is always the best way. So if you see the trend, and this is for any college kid, or again like your granddaughter graduating high school, wherever you're graduating, always look to go against the grain. So if it's AI today, all right, what can be used that AI isn't using so I can make myself a whole lot more valuable for a long term plan? That's the way I
Yeah.
would kind of address that one. So I'll let you go.
Another thing that I think about is just don't think about the now. You have to look into the future. You have to be forward thinking and say, okay, this might be hot right now, but is it going to be hot next year and the year
Hmm.
after? So look out 5 years at least and ask Chat. Go ahead and put it in there now. Ask it. So being forward thinking Give me an outlook of the next 5 years and the top three industries I should look at.
Say again.
So, being forward thinking,
Hmm.
create an outlook for the next 5 years, and what top three industries and or jobs should I look at?
And the top jobs, you said?
Three. Top three jobs or industries. Yep.
Jobs or okay. So now I'm glad you actually asked me to do this because I definitely said top three, but they gave me five.
Yeah.
uh, So the first thing, AI will be the new electricity. AI will power everything from customer service to medicine, logistics workers who use AI now. All right, so this actually is perfect because it goes back into what we discussed last week. Being an electrician, being someone that can actually physically go into a home and put the right wires in place to do the electricity work that some AI machine told them to do. So these are like they start by saying AI is going to be the new electricity. That is fair, but there's still going to be a human being that has to install the electrical wires and make sure that's right. Make sure when
Yes.
you click this, this goes on. Those are things that AI, that doesn't matter. You have to have a physical person that has to be able to do that. So that's number one. Did you want to add anything there?
I know. Mm-mm.
All right, number two, remote and freelance work will be the standard, not the trendy. Companies will invest more in flexible contracts, global hiring, and hybrid tech. Being able to manage your own time projects and results will become a must-have skill level. Man, I'm so glad this one got up because just this week. So this was for those of you who don't know, I teach at a school that's year round. And this week was kind of the only week in which we really just have some downtime because it's right after July 4th weekend, and most of the teachers weren't really there. Most people weren't, around. But I was able to use that time to build a connection with two different places. One, it was a boxing gym in Palm Beach that now I'm going to be going back and teaching some boxing classes in the near future here, and also a sports bar that I would go to regularly. Now that they're going to let me host a college football show coming up this August for this football season. So these were two things as you look at remote and freelance work will be the standard because you want to become more flexible. I don't create value in the school I teach at without doing these little things. And if you're not doing these little things, the people who are eventually will remove remove the folks who aren't because that's going to become the standard. There's so many ways to connect with other people that if you're not taking advantage of it, there's nothing you can do that'll be valuable to an organization, regardless of how many people may like you or they don't like you. So that one's a big one.
Yeah, I agree. So the
Hmm.
big push this past year was getting people back in the workplace, right? Making sure that they're back in a brick and mortar place. But that's not what the future looks like. And you
Hmm.
see that if you look at the age demographics of people that work at home as opposed to, working in a brick and mortar, it is
Hmm.
much higher. And companies are trending because what they found is the employees are happier because they feel as though they have more flexibility being at
Hmm.
home. Now work at home is not for everyone, but those that do have the discipline to work at home, you are more productive. You don't have those interruptions that you would when you're in a brick and mortar. So that's something to look at not only for looking for a job, but for employers as well.
Yes, I know people that have actually interviewed so they can go work out because listen, daycare and babysitting and all that stuff that the price of that goes up really high. So if you can find a situation in which you can work from, even though the work may be monotonous or maybe something that you don't actually enjoy doing, just being able to do it at home cuts off so much cost that would have had to
Yes.
come somewhere if you have to go drop someone off. And we talked about this a little bit on the Mother's Day edition. You have to go drop the kid off at the daycare, and that's going to cost you some money. And next thing you know, the kid's freaking out, and you got to come back and leave. I mean, we've had to fire certain mothers have gotten fired because they kept coming in and having to pick up their
Yeah.
kid and all that. So that's a situation that you don't want. So number three, another big one, soft skills will outpace technical skills as AI handles more of the doing. human traits. Emotional intelligence, communication, and strategic thinking will define the leadership and success. My goodness. Before I even go on this one, I am so damn happy I met this lady named Kimberly Blue because I'm learning some things right now as we are speaking. This is right up my alley, man. Soft skills and making sure we're communicating and just strategic thinking for the future. That's my wheelhouse, man. That's what we do. And to know
Yeah.
that we can just randomly put this in the chat GPT and my specific skill set is right there in terms of what's going to be needed. I ain't got nothing else to say. I'm going to let Kimberly take this one. I like it.
Yeah.
I am good.
And it's funny because you think back to our first podcast,
Yes.
the art of adaptability.
Yes. It was right.
That you have to be the face, to
Mm-hmm.
whatever your product or service is. No matter if you're working for a company or for yourself, soft
Mm-hmm.
skills are number one. And being able to have a conversation, even if you disagree,
Mm-hmm.
is going to be a lot of people don't know how to do that, but it's going to be a top skill that you need to have.
Oh wait, I see. I see where they put the top 3 job industries. Let's see what time we got. We have about all right. We have about 19 more minutes. Let's just run through 4 and 5, and then we'll get to the top 3 jobs and industries to watch. So number 3, it says green and ethical business will dominate investments. Rules in sustainability, ESG, environmental, social governance, and ethical tech will rise as consumers and regulators demand impact-driven innovation. Again, this just kind of goes back to just having ethics because so many of these things can be weeded out because utilizing AI with the strategic brain, you're going to weed out people that are doing things unethically. All right. For career reinvention will be, oh, yes, career reinvention will be normalized. All right. People will shift industries more often, making personal branding and lifelong learning essential to staying relevant and hireable. And I will tell you from experience, again, because of cousin ChatGPT, and the stuff I'm doing now, I spend $0 this year on Fiverr. All right, I used to spend money on Fiverr. If you looked at my account, it would be something about Fiverr. I would spend money on Fiverr over and over again. But because of AI and ChatGPT being able to create my own stuff, Fiverr's dead. Proofreaders and editors and all those kinds of folks. All right, you better find another way to get your business. So I'll let you add anything before we get
Yeah.
to the top 3.
There's so many things. Like, I explained a couple weeks ago that I made my own
Mm-hmm.
chatbot, HR chatbot, and also it's almost done for production, but my own ATS system. There's
Mm-hmm.
so many ATS systems out there. So you have to think strategically and use the tools that are there, available to you and learn it. Don't depend on anyone else to know. Now, can't know everything, but if your business is education or your business is warehousing, learn it, know it, anything that has to do with it so you can make good decisions.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, top 3 industries and jobs to watch from 2025 to 2030. AI augmented roles, aka AI plus human. Example: an AI business strategist, prompt engineer, AI product manager. Why you don't need code AI, you need to use it better than others. All right. So,
Can't do coding.
forgive
Remember, they're going to
the
do their own coding.
yes, forgive the selfless plug I'm about to have right here, but it is needs to be said. Save that. Let me see if I can find it while we are on here, because I got to. We've been through this, we've done it, and when stuff like this comes up, it is important that it gets shared out. All right, folks. So let me see if I can utilize the internet good enough. So share this out. Okay, if you go on LinkedIn right now, are you seeing it?
Yeah.
See the newsletter. Bang. It is right there, written in ink. It is May 1st, 2025. Mistakes like this, exactly why employee development matters. All right. I made a huge mistake in reaching out to some company using AI stuff. And then I have learned in the process that mistake is going to make it so I'm more valuable in the role. So when they say AI augmented human roles, this is where you got to continuously develop folks. I cannot stress that enough. The human brain is still going to be a need, but the same way you had to adapt to using this laptop, same way you have to adapt to using these phones, the same way you have to adapt to whatever car you're driving with stick shift on. You have got to adapt and take the human brain and apply it to whatever new thing is happening. I don't look at it as something that new has happened particularly. I look at it as something, hey, I'm going to have to adjust to based on the way I'm already thinking. All right.
And I'll say something else right
Mm-hmm,
now, more than ever, if you're on LinkedIn, on Facebook, Instagram, what have you,
mm-hmm,
you'll see a ton of ads and marketing for AI certifications.
mm.
Do not fall for that.
I
Do
was just
your
about to ask you
homework.
that. I was just about to ask you. I was about to
Yeah.
just say, hey, is that even something that's worth investing in?
It depends. I mean, yes, if you want to learn it, but some
Mm-hmm,
companies aren't teaching you anything that we can't teach you for free,
mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
But if you want to be elevated and get a certification, there are reputable companies out there, but you have to make sure that it's just not a piece of paper and they're not showing you things that you could learn on your own. So
Mm-hmm.
just be careful and do your research.
All right, next point. Next point. We're running on time here, so let me get it going in. All right, green economy and sustainability, climate analysis, ESG consultant, renewable energy project manager, climate regulations, and clean tech funding are growing fast. Every company needs an eco plan. This is something that I I personally try to do my part in. I remember working years ago when I worked overnight at a gym. I would take all the recycle bin stuff and then I would drive it out to the recycling bin and make sure stuff was recycled and stuff like that. Uh, how do you take this in the HR world? Are they taking it to where they're now trying to figure out ways in which businesses are just thinking in a more ethical manner because of the climate, because of the weather, and they see if we don't do something, something drastic is going to happen. We see all these wildfires coming up. We see just extreme weather in so many different places that it's like, look, something has to get done. We can't ignore it forever.
Yeah, it's true because think about
Mhm,
like the old HR processes where we use a lot of paper. Why in 2025 are we using paper documents, and not
mhm.
having everything online?
Yeah,
That's why the system that I created does that. There is
mhm,
nothing that you have to print. Absolutely nothing.
yeah,
Everything is online. And, that's how you contribute because I could tell you,
mhm,
some companies are still using that employee packet, that employee onboarding. They want to touch it and feel it.
mhm.
And that costs so much money. So what are you doing to save money and, save the planet of all these trees we're cutting down for paper that
Right.
we don't need?
Right. And that actually that reminds me of another article I wrote like years ago where I asked the question, is money real? And it really is a matter of a young person can be very financially literate without ever having to touch a dollar now. They can cash out their way, they
Yes.
spend more. They never actually have to touch the physical printed out dollars. So now, final one. Three is digital health and longevity. And it's C is digital health coach, telehealth coordinator, genomics data analysis, the aging population, wearable, that's what they meant. Our wearable tech, personalized medicine are merging into one massive growth center. So a sector, excuse me. So the idea of getting a text, looking at your phone and being able to do that, all of those little products that are just making it so you're able to create more longevity within your digital products. That is cool. In fact, just this morning, my girl she sent me. So because I'm doing the show, she sent me like little microphones that I can get at Walmart, so I can put it like right here. And then it's
Right.
those little products like that are actually really really huge when you really think about just staying on point and staying making sure everything is documented.
Mhm. And also think about like I look on your iPhone. If you have an iPhone, I'm sure
Hmm.
Samsung or and Androids have it too. But you could take your blood pressure, you could take your blood sugar
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
an iPhone. Who would
Hmm.
have thought that, right? So that's how forward thinking you have to be
Yeah.
when you're talking about the future and
Hmm.
being able to stay relevant in the workplace.
All right, folks. I mean, it's crazy because we can literally go hour for hour on these particular topics, but we ain't gonna give you guys too much free stuff anymore. That's one thing we are gonna stop doing ourselves. So again, RDH Solutions. Be sure you get in contact with her. Myself, it's makeymove.com, MAKEYAMOVE.com. One stop shop for your teamwork and your self development needs, and we will see you all next Sunday. Have a great one.
So yeah.